for the re-engage. That's a jump
Haji's
back.
ult is up.
Haji, he's gonna look for one, blasting him. There's a feather air to the face. Wise secures the kill. It's a 1 for 3 so far, and they take the Lord.
Oh my. My God, Onyx Philippines, they were so disconnected in that, and the punishment was there for Blacklist International. And unfortunately, Kyrie went for the wraparound, did not hit the Phantom Execution onto Haji. That's why Haji was able to just run away and punish him for his transgressions. And Onyx PH have lost so much of their lead. Blacklist International taking the Enhanced Lord, meaning to say they now have map control.
This is the refined Blacklist that we were all talking about back in the BTK matchup. Blacklist, look at how well they're able to play. Onyx Philippines, for the first few minutes, were the ones pushing their playstyle onto Blacklist, but they did not crack. They waited up until that Ube strat could work. It didn't work in the 7 minutes because they were so behind, but now, look at these items, look at these heroes. They finally scaled up through the farming on the cross-map plays, and they are the ones pushing Onyx Philippines to play their way. They have nowhere to go at this point. They can only follow Blacklist tempo.
I put a name to this when we saw it happen against BTK. It was called the rubber banding effect. Blacklist was rubber banding, and they were just waiting, and now this is their game to lose. Look at this, Luminous Lord marching down through bottom. They are setting it up, feathered airstrike, blasted on the 4 members of Onyx PH, and they're gonna take that inhibitor down bottom. Look at the discipline, catching one. Dilarski with the Holy Baptism. Mid's gonna get taken down as well. Oheb takes it, the Filipino sniper. Pew pew!
This is going to be insane right now. Look, the 2,000 goldie for Onyx Philippines, it felt like it didn't even exist at this point. 4,000 for Blacklist, they're cracking in the base.
Look at this calculated assault. Wise coming in, threatening the passive tick onto Marky, and they're still here. They are not letting go. They know that there's ults on the side of Blacks International, and they give full respect. Mountain Shocker keeping him in place. They might try to look for a kill here onto Dilarski. He's low, down to a third of his health. Circling Eagle by Bolonski into the back line. He's going to get punished.
Oh, Kyrie.
Immortality. Looking for Kyrie, he's looking for heads. There's a feathered airstrike. Wise goes down. 2 go down, 1 for 1 so far. And Dilarski jumping on. That's going to be another one taken down. Haji from Baloyski. And it's Edward. He's running. He's buying time. Here comes Oheb. And Oh My Venus going to go for the fire back. That's Marky catching a bullet. Baloyski, he's still going to go down. The Filipino sniper gets ahead. Marky pops the black shoes. He's okay. 3-on-3 still inside Onyx PH's base.
This is insane. The prolonged fights once again with Oheb just standing in that back line. And look how this fight is going to go again.
Oh, they're still going. Holy Baptism catches Dilarski, and he's still dancing around, giving him shields and taking down the Queen. Popping Immortality and the Nibiru's Passion. Point blank, Marky secures the kill. Edward and Oheb may have overstayed their welcome. They disengage. There's a heal from Edward. He's still pushing his luck. He's still going. Dilarski gonna dance around. Both of them still have immortalities. We get a reset.
18 minutes in, and what a game do we have on our hands. Look at the scoreboard. Dead even, 13-14. 2,000 gold lead though for the side of Blacklist. Now what Onyx needs to do is, again, target that back line. It's very easy to say. It's very hard to do considering the front line and the peel from the side of Blacklist. Look at the items right now. What can you see?
Oh, well, I can see that there is Wind of Transient on the side of Hatred, and they're freshly picked up Wind of Nature for both Wise and Hatred. This was fresh off of Wise, and this is perfect against Hatred as well as Kyrie. As we can see that Kyrie really would like to go for Wise all the time.
Goes in, circling Eagle on to Wise. A false engage. Dilarski goes back with the Falling Star Moon. Edward pushing them back.
Oh, this is Onyx PH. I wonder why they popped that. Maybe they're just threatening for kills as Kyrie is just waiting for farm onto the other side of the map. But Blacklist International, they do have the advantage of all of the minions just pressing against Onyx PH without the inhibitor turret.
At this point of the game, Onyx Philippines, they need to micromanage so many things, you know? 3 lanes basically constantly going to be pushing in with those super minions activated from those inhibitors as now Lord spawns by TikTok Live. How are they going to contest for this? Blacklist, they are better in the prolonged fights, in the poke division as well. Onyx will need to pull out some crazy fights, maybe even some miracle plays to be able to make that happen.
Miracle plays. We'll see if Onyx PH is known for that, but Blacklist International, they're so composed.
Circling Eagle onto 1. They might get it off of this odd entry by Edward. but they're not going to let that happen, not so easily. Mountain Shocker, you always have to remember, Blacks International has that one tool to know exactly where everyone is, so the wraparound, that isolated catch, not so easy.
Again, Onyx Philippines forcing these out, you know, like you said, this is what they do, and literally right now, 20 minutes in, they need to keep on forcing this because look at the build-ups in the waves. From the bottom side, Marky, oh my god.
Marky, Mountain Shocker, everything is a threat here right now. The range game on Blacklist International is huge as they take the Lord in the blink of an eye. Onyx, no time to respond. Dilarski gets his Immortality Pop, circling Eagle by Baloysi, keeping Edward in check. Down goes the Esmeralda, Wise takes the kill, and right now even Hatred suffers a death. Down goes the Beatrix, the Filipino sniper gets one, Kyrie falls as well. It's only Marky left. The Lord and Blacklist marching into their base. Ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves game number 1. Marky goes, Blacklist takes it 1-0.
Again, the Lord fight. I think that this game will go for either Haji or Edward. Edward was able to just make sure that Onyx PH is in check and they know where they are. They don't even need to pop the Mountain Shocker to know where the members of Onyx PH are. It's just that Edward is keeping tabs of it, and Haji, this guy smiling because I would say he carried this game. The way he uses his ultimate just to disrupt and maybe burst the squishy members of Onyx PH was just phenomenal.
It's the simple plays that come in for Blacklist International that really makes the difference here. You don't need flashy plays. All you need to do is stick to that textbook. They know their win conditions entirely. When the draft was set, they knew what we had to do. First 5 minutes, never gonna go our way. If we try to force the tempo, we're gonna lose. Sure, I'll just keep on farming. Wise, he was disrupted so many times in the jungle. Didn't let that get into his head. He stayed composed. He waited for the time. When he got those item power spikes, you can see the level that he brought onto these team fights. They were able to force every single one. And the name of the game for game 1 is forced errors. Blacklist, with that pressure, with the tempo shifting over, they were able to push it through Onyx PH.
It's the Blacklist rubber band scoring them the first victory in game number 1. Let's throw it over to our analysts, Gideon Q and LaFell. Break it down.
Thanks so much, Leo. Appreciate it as always. But back here at the analyst stand with the two smartest here once again. LaFell, we have to talk about this a little bit more because again, even though it is going to be an all-Filipino finals, there still are mistakes being made here.
Yeah, but first we have to look at a few things. Number one is the draft. Coming from the side of Onyx Philippines, they are a little bit faster because they are more focused on the early game tempo. However, moving later stages of the game, once we have 4 items, then it's time for Blacklist International to really control the map. And then speaking of mistakes, Onyx Philippines, there were a lot of engages that was actually countered by the side of Blacklist International, just being a little bit better in terms of timing on how they capitalize on the engages coming in from Onyx.
But that's the thing, right, LaFell? When you have such a complicated overall draft where your win conditions are mainly to be playing for this early game, we see time and time again, it feels like Blacklist is able to kind of hold them back. But what we cannot hold back, we can't stop talking about the Razer Hammerheads here. Guys, if you haven't heard about it, you gotta cop one for yourself because the Razer Hammerhead True Wireless are cutting-edge earbuds destined to dominate the sound stage. Designed to dazzle in a blaze of RGB glory, the Hammerhead is decked out with active noise-canceling 60 ms low-latency gaming mode for an audio experience never seen or heard before. Head on over to Razer.com to learn a little bit more about it and make sure you get your pair today. Now, coming back to this once more, simplification compared to overcomplicating things, I feel like generally it feels like on brand. Like everybody got their comfort picks for either side of the teams.
Not just comfort picks, but also how they play the game, because we have to remember that Onyx Philippines, they like to play the macro game. They like to move around the map. Where from the side of Blacklist, they like to move in together because they play the team fight game much better. And if we saw in terms of how they play in the highlights, look at how much damage they were able to juggle around together. And right now, again, we're gonna look at the draft. Coming in, this is the more important part, is that Marky, Hatred, as well as Kyrie, the heroes that they've been using, our casters were asking about the Hunt Strike, and again, this is just the way that they play. They want to be a little bit faster, they want to catch Blacklist off guard, but they missed time in terms of taking the objectives. They should have been a little bit faster because Beatrix mid, clear the lane fast, move on. Marky wins the lane, clear the lane fast, move on. Same thing with Kyrie, but again, Blacklist, they were able to slow it down, mostly because Uranus as well as Farsa.
Yeah, Edward just doing a really good job at kind of just buffering, sandbagging in the lanes, as people like to call it. But most importantly, I think Haji not only was playing for the macro sense, some of his plays have really caught some of the members from Onyx PH side off guard, getting a lot of free kills.
Yeah, and especially because of that winter truncheon. A lot of times you see like Kyrie trying to dive to the back line, try to kill him off, but once he has that winter truncheon, then he's going to be sitting there for quite a while, and the rest of Blacklist International, they can just focus him down. And another point of contention is Oheb. In the early game, he was focused, but mid-stage and late stages of the game, he was basically untouched, being able to dish a lot of damage. Speaking of damage, Oheb dealt the most, 107,000.
Yeah, and despite having a start of 1-4 and one really rough laning phase, I totally get where you're coming from here. But overall, when we're looking to damage the towers, Blacklist is going to be taking the cake. Even though we're looking at the score of 18-14, a lot of these fights have been quite 50-50.
50-50 in mid-game. Later stages in the game, then it becomes a whole lot different. On the Philippines, when they were playing inside their own base, the only way that they can really cover is because of Lilia covering, you know, like destroying the minions and such. But coming into the late game, then Blacklist, they have this, you know, in the bag because they have a lot of scale in their composition, and that is why it's great. Yeah.
It's crazy, man. It really is crazy. And I think for the most part of it, let's keep in mind that the compositions had two very clear ideas. But it's time to announce our MVP of this game, giving it over to Oheb, despite having one of the hardest starts possible, able to bring it back for his team with a 5-5-10 KDA, 83% KP.
Yeah, honestly, being able to play from behind, that's amazing. Because playing from ahead, that's super easy. It's like, yeah, I have the goal lead, I have the EXP lead, I will deal more damage. But from behind, having to find your own farm and making sure that you are super strong in the late game. And again, dealing the most damage, over 100,000 damage. Oheb doing a lot for his team. But again, this is the clash of styles. On the Philippines, they play good. They play very, very well. It's just that they didn't push it fast enough.
That's the thing. I don't know about you, but personally, that's why I'm leaning more to Blacklist overall, to be able to kind of over-encompass and, more importantly, simplify their style to make sure that they punish Onyx.
Yeah, again, we have to see who controls the tempo. Because honestly, throughout M3, that is the most common word that we've been using. Who can control the tempo better, then they will actually dictate how the face is being made, and then they will win.
Who are you supporting here this time around, LaFell?
I'm still looking at Ani because, again, they played it well, and I feel like this is just one of those situations where they can understand where the problem lies, and then they can recover from it.
I get you, because I'm supporting Blacklist this time around. And who are you at home going to be supporting? Because with the M3 battle emote still up for sale, you can cop one today and flex in game all your support for your favorite teams here, especially for the Filipinos out there. I don't know why you wouldn't want to get one, because again, we've prepared some exclusive battle emotes for all 16 teams, and with each battle emote, it has their own voiceover, so get them now and support your favorite teams while you still can. I don't want people to regret and be like, ah, man, I should have got it earlier, even though I just turned into a fan. Just save yourself the time, save yourself the effort, get it now while you still can, and most importantly, between the both of us, we'll see. We'll see how Game 2 is going to go. Let's throw it over to our casters at the desk to see how Game 2 is going to play out. Leo, please take it away.
Thank you so much, Gideon, Q, and LaFell, explaining exactly what happened in game number 1 and awarding our MVP, Oheb. Welcome back to the desk. My name is Leo, at your service, joined by Wolf and Mirko. Gentlemen, that went the distance. I mean, we hit TikTok timers.
Yep.
There were some outs for both teams, but eventually Blacklist found the W.
Yeah, we could see that the start was really good for the side of Onyx PH. They have this early game composition courtesy of the Lancelot, led by the Lancelot, which was the Lilia, and then of course that mid lane Beatrix. Naturally, these heroes don't scale as much. That's why in the latter portions of the game, we see that the Clint as well as the Yi Shin just trumped over that, and we can see this dynamic between both Esmeralda and Uranus. Uranus being the better positional tool and better macro tool in the late game, which almost always trumps the initiation coming out from Esmeralda.
Well put. I mean, besides Oheb's Clint, I'd say that Uranus on Edward would have been a great MVP as well. And you at home can be the MVP of both skill and style with the Frank debit card. Out of over 60 designs. Pick the one that screams your personality or your dreams. Once more, thank you to Frank by OCBC. Mirko, let's look back around and throw it over to Onyx this time around. How do they come back from this? It was a well-fought match. It slipped right from their grasp.
Honestly, at this point, the thing is, yes, Onyx Philippines, they made a few mistakes in that game, but it was all because Blacklist played a perfect one. They forced these mistakes to happen onto Onyx Philippines. What Onyx needs to do is possibly get more aggressive, because the time that they spent going for all that setup for the tier 1s, it was perfect. But after that, they kind of fell flat. They didn't want to engage. They didn't want to risk their gold lead, and that's where they fell, all right? If you don't risk anything, you're not going to get anywhere in this game. You need to be able to invade the jungle, take away some of the resources, and force-wise, once again, to just not be a threat here. As long as he doesn't get farmed, that's all you need. Or when he uses Retribution so that you can set up for the Lord.
Maybe we're actually giving Onyx a little too much to work with. There might be too many duties because 1, yeah, watch Edward. 2, watch Uranus, watch that offlaner, watch Wise, 3, watch Oheb, but also I think we have folks watching over Miwatch. What's up? You guys have been with us since the 6th of December. Now it's the last day. We're about to crown another champion. By watching, you can win various in-game rewards, and of course, thank you so much again for joining us. What are you waiting for? Switch on over to Miwatch and check us out as we duke out between 2 Filipino teams vying for that back-to-back championships. We were saying, maybe be a little more bold. Is that exactly what might have not worked out for Onyx?
It is easy to say because of the fact that they have Lancelot as well as the Matilda, right? But then again, if you're looking at how Blacklist played it, they made sure that in the mid game where it all mattered, that they weren't forced as much. And I think that you can also give it to how Haji played it. He was able to punish the positioning on the side of Onyx PH and become a nuisance. Not only that, he also baited so much coming out from Onyx PH. I think that from minute 7 up until the last minute of the game, it was Blacklist International just turning it up and flipping the switch to bait mode because they were just luring Onyx PH to their position, to their part of the map, and then they reset, right? You saw that so many times. When somebody gets jumped by Baloyski, all of them together, as if they're controlled by a hive mind, just go back to their own base, and when Baloyski's already out of position, that's where they peel. And then it took so many tries for Onyx PH only to make it to the point where their mistake was so bad that it gave the Lord to the side of Blacklist International.
And that was a turning point. That one huge objective turned the tides.
We need to take a look at their mentality as well here, all right? Because this is going to be the first loss outside of the group stage, all right? Based in the playoffs.
Yeah.
This is the first loss that Onyx Philippines have. Yeah. You know, this is insane, actually. Now
Their
that I think about it.
second loss throughout the whole World Championship.
Exactly. Game loss, by the way. So, again, this mentality-wise, how is it going to affect them? I did meet Baloyski just now in the restroom. He seemed pretty okay. He seemed really... Yeah, I mean, if you look at the Onyx Philippine crew right now, they are all smiles, all right? So I really like that about them. They're chill. And we need to see more of that right now for the side of Onyx PH. They need to stay composed. And what is most important is they need to understand their win conditions. Push in when they have the gold lead. Don't be scared. They're playing that game not to lose, you know? They didn't go for the win. They were just playing not to lose.
Yep. I also saw on the way to what we did during the break, Mirko as well as Leo. I see Kyrie actually stayed in stage. I think that him and Coach Yeb were actually discussing something maybe about because I think I see him like warming up once again. Maybe he wants to play that Lancer once again. Onyx PH just snatched
that's
the
why.
Shin as well as the Yu Zhong. Straight up answered this Marsa. It was a problem in game 1. And now they haven't tried to solve it.
Exactly. This is what I like from Onyx PH. This is what I said should have happened in game number 1. All right, aside from the Yisun Shin, all right, maybe that's why he stayed on stage. He was like, Coach, you put me on these high mechanical heroes. I can play Yisun Shin as well, all right? So, Yu Zhong, this is going to be the name of the game right now. Haji was one of the main contributing factors to the victory that Blacklist was able to get. Now with the Yu Zhong, it is going to make it much harder for this Farsa to be a factor in this team fight.
Yep, I really like these two picks from Onyx as well. One, throwing back. Two, the Yusunshin wallbang by Kyrie from earlier in the playoffs. That was amazing. And number two, just the way Dilarski plays this Yuzhong, not only in the world stage, but even back in MPL Philippines Season 8. He would just draw lines across the map, man. He would say where you can and can't go, and it answers that Farsa so well.
Yeah, loving the Barrett's pick for Blacklist International was banned out by Onyx PH, one of their go-to heroes for both Edward as well as Wise. It's a flex pick as well. One thing that we can expect from Blacklist International is that this Farsa as well as Rafaela will be the mid-lane duo for Blacklist International. And let's see how Onyx PH will actually answer this. Lancelot will not be picked up anymore, as the Yusunshin is the jungler of choice for Onyx PH, which means that our Onyx PH might go full macro once again. Maybe they want to go back to these wave clear heroes like Lilia, for example, but played in the mid lane.
Your team is
Ducky,
banning.
though.
Coach Ducky, all right. Onyx Philippines, though, now with the Natan pickup as well. Now, look at these picks for the side of Onyx PH. They might just be targeting Oheb here, all right? Beatrix and Clint has been left open here in the first phase. I think this is the first time in a very long time.
I guess they're more confident this time around because they have the Yuzhong. So far, Lolita has been snubbed in this series, which has been the flavor of the tournament thus far. And the fact that they're leaving these open means... so far, Lolita has been snubbed in this series, which has been the flavor of the tournament thus far. And the fact that they're leaving these open means maybe they have the clear answer. And you're looking at it right here. It's that dragon. It's the Yuzhong. Onyx PH takes out the Brody. I'm guessing maybe this other one might be another targeted ban, and then they go from there.
Yep, with the Brody as well as the Clint, the considerations for bans from Onyx PH, but knowing Blacklist International, they can still go back to something like an Alice. Although Blacklist International, that is definitely one of the heroes that play on OE, but not really the best choice. Now, this is what I like from, this is what I actually expected from Onyx PH to do. Last pick the Baloyski hero, or maybe second phase pick that hero. That Matilda, as good as it is, it's one of those best heroes, right? But you can't do that against Blacklist International. These playmakers from the role should not be countered by Blacklist International, because you can see we're baited by that Matilda.
And looking at it from a macro standpoint, maybe game one, Onyx PH was too honest. Maybe they revealed their cards too soon, and Blacklist, even from the blue side, was able to draft around it. Looking at this last ban by Onyx, of course, it's going to be the Phoveus. Gotta respect that hero on Edward.
Beatrix is still available, so is Clint. They banned both Joe as well as this Natalia, the three heroes that gave this Onyx PH his unbeatable campaign in the upper bracket, now banned out by Blacklist International. Are we looking for another Lilia pick? They still go back to the Matilda.
But maybe it's better this time around.
Yes. Woo. That's what I was gonna go for here right now. Matilda, now that you have the Yuzhong that can dive, the Yusunshin that can dive and kite away, it is gonna be really good for the Matilda, adding again some sort of disengage, some sort of engage. This is a complete hero, right? When we're talking about Matilda, she can do it all. But let's see, Blacklist, they have the chance to pick up either a Beatrix or a Clint, and also the jungler. What jungler do they want to go for? Perhaps, maybe we've already seen the jungler here, the Barretts.
Yeah, I agree. So you still have like Paquito, and well, sometimes Blacklist International goes for Lapu Lapu, because this really looks like a good Lapu Lapu game against both Nathan as well as Yusunshin.
Oh yeah.
Another option is that Glue, but it's probably not the priority. Yep. Again, Beatrix is still there. Go back to the Uranus. I think Onyx PH can go back to Lunox. The difference, though, is that they don't have the best wave clear in the world against a potential snowball from Blacklist. This is Rafaela plus Barats. They want to push and push and push. So now, if you're Onyx PH, you're looking to answer either the tankiness of both Barats as well as Lunox, or just answer the wave clear. Either way, they will have to choose only one.
My problem with the Lunox is it feels a little slow. Onyx PH, they're going to have to use a huge chunk of the guiding winds to really position that Lunox, or else once again it might be the same story as game one all over again, wherein they isolate one and then it all just crumbles. Let's see if they're gonna fall for it. Instead, no. Is this what I think it is? I think is this mid money? Is this mid money?
Not entirely sure.
Paquito mid.
Hatred?
It's Paquito mid.
No, it's not. You're right. Is this a throwback to Season 8? Are they switching it up like that?
It's a throwback to Season 7, man, when Paquito was like used everywhere, right? As a roamer, But very interesting pickup here. I mean, technically, yes, it is going to be really good in that mid lane, getting some pressure then, and obviously, Farsa will be pressured constantly. But what we do need to look at from the side of Blacklist is that they don't have a reliable source of engage. They are they're relying on Onyx Philippines to dive them first, you know?
Yep.
Going in for the Rafaela kiteback, going again for those prolonged fights, whereas for Onyx PH, they also kind of strive in these long fights with the Yu Zhong, the Yi Sun Shin, and especially the Natan.
Yep, and if we're looking at Blacklist International though, their lack of engage did not lose them the game in game number 1.
Yep.
They're actually masters of this, luring tactics where they bait out Onyx PH. This time though, after game 1, Onyx PH, will they actually be forced into those kinds of situations? Will they be lured again by Blacklist International as we head into another pause?
An intermission before we go ahead and get into the map. Fellas, I'm not sure. I don't recall. Who was playing which? Was it confirmed?
Yes, it has been confirmed. Hatred, the one on that Paquito. Very, very interesting. Once again, I agree with you. I'm just as confused as you, but we need to take a look at why possibly this might have happened. Going up against Blacklist International, the one thing that they lacked in that first game is that gap closer, all right? They didn't have anyone, technically not gap closer, but lockdown, all right? With Paquito, it adds both. You have the knockdown, you have the knockdown strike that can lock down these enemies in place, and that gap closer that you really, really need. And guess what? On Philippines, it's not like they're just changing their gameplay 100%. They also have that siege that they really want to go for. The Yi Sun Shin at the top is going to add so much to that banana split that we already know, especially that Mountain Shocker.
Yeah, I think Onyx PH, they're playing on the same strengths they had from game number 1, but this time around, they're refining it. They're refining it and they're adding more elements that allow them to fight Blacklist on this more fluid team fight style. Yes, game 1, they were more sustained, they wanted to stay in a little longer, maybe last 2 or 3 more ults, but it's very fluid. So is this right? Am I reading this right? That Onyx wants to fight the same way.
Yeah.